Hi friends, it's Lori and welcome to the channel. Today is going to be all about this center container. So it is come time. It is November and this container, well, it doesn't look great. It is still thriving. I just can't say enough about these pink dahlias from Proven Winners. They just haven't stopped. I've had them in here since at least May. I'd have to go back and check the dates. I've had this gorgeous pink Angelonia that died back in the heat of the summer and then came back out full force. I've had some summer, I don't know if you can see them over here. I think they've stopped blooming, but I had some gorgeous yellow dahlias that were a fall variety. This color, it was just gorgeous, the pop. And then midsummer, I did have to change out the center of the container and I added this fern, which has done amazing. So today I'm going to get this completely cleaned out. I'm going to add new soil because I'm sure I'm going to have to. And then I cannot wait to show you what I recently got on a trip where I visited Longwood Gardens. Longwood Gardens is an amazing garden up in Pennsylvania. They also have one of my favorite garden shops, and it was tulip time at Longwood. I want to show you how they designed their tulip beds. I was so excited to get to see it, and I was able to purchase some tulips specifically for this container. They are varieties I've never grown before, and I'm really excited to show them to you. So I'm going to get this garden all prepped for winter and next season, so let's just get after it. First things, all the cleanup. Let's go. Okay, so I got one of the tubers out, or one of the dahlia plants, and it has made tubers. I know the light is really bright today. So it's made a couple tubers. They're small, but I have had small tubers save great and then be able to use them next year. So what I'm going to do, this is a really damp clump of dirt. I am going to let it dry out a little bit, see if I can shake all the dirt off, and then let these guys dry, and I'm going to try to save them. But what I'm going to do is let it dry out in the not direct sun, kind of shaded sun, and see if I can get the soil to dry, shake it off, and then I will save some of the tubers. So that's my goal. I've got one more dahlia in there, and then we're going to get out the fern. So as much as I love containers, getting them cleaned out can be the worst. So I've actually learned over the years to cut everything back and then to use my hori-hori knife to just kind of cut around the plant. Sometimes if you're going to save something like a dahlia in a container, you may end up, cutting some of the tuber. But I have found the most success doing it in that manner. And once you get started, as you go around, it gets easier and easier to pull things out. These have been in here, again, since April, May. So what I've done to get started is I've left a couple inches of soil that is kind of packed in around the cocoa liner. I'm going to leave that for this season. I'm going to be adding fresh soil, but after spring, when I take all the tulips out and the centerpiece, I will probably get a new liner and fill it all with fresh soil. But I think this soil being really tight is going to help insulate everything for the winter. Now, what I'm going to do for just the winter season is I'm going to bring in this gorgeous evergreen. This is an evergreen that is supposed to stay small. So originally it was itty bitty. It has grown and it has loved this shade garden. So I'm hoping it will do good over the winter. I'm going to make sure it has tons of water. And then when spring comes, I'm actually going to transplant it into the ground somewhere in the back area, probably in the shade garden. But I thought for today, this would just be really, really beautiful. I needed to get it out of the container it was in, and I thought for the holidays to have winter interest up here, it'd be beautiful. So what I'm going to do is get this centered in the container. I did shake out a lot of the dirt from the root ball. I may need to actually shake some more. And then I'm going to show you the gorgeous tulips that I got at Longwood Gardens. Now, if you haven't been to Longwood Gardens, it's amazing. I will probably put some images on the screen. And I do want to tell you all about their tulip planting. I got to see their process, which of course, if you're doing mass planting, I think it was really, really interesting. I don't plant that many, but I think there's some lessons from it that we can all learn. So I think it'll be really fun for me to show you that. Okay, I'm at the bottom of the container. So I think that is going to do perfect. So let me get my soil. I'm going to fill it, and then we'll talk about those amazing tulips. Oh, this is going to be just beautiful. Now this potting soil got really wet. It's been sitting out in the driveway. So that moisture will feel great around this tree. Of course, wet soil smells, doesn't it? The tree may be a little sideways because it was growing in a pot and it was probably getting just sun on one side. I'm thinking that's probably what was happening. Okay, so I've got a bag of goodies here, but I wanted to tell you about the way they put their bulbs in at Longwood. If you've never seen a commercial or a garden center plant their bulb display, I'm not sure if they all do it this way, but it was really fun to get to see it. I've got just a few clips to show you. But what they did is they've got all their tulip varieties. When they come in, they number them based on their plan. So of course, they have garden designers that design the tulip display. They order all the tulips, and when they come in, they number them based on the type of tulip, and then the numbers match the grid. So they had a huge, long, like 8 to 12 foot bed. And what they had done is they came out, the designers, and they spray painted with white spray paint the design of the bed. So they had the arches, the cubes, the areas. Then they put numbers. And so there was a number 1, a number 5, a number 3, and then they started planting the tulips. And what they did is they first laid them all out. And I'm assuming at that point they were really looking at the design. The designers probably came back to check everything. And then they were going to actually start the planting process. What I took away from it was I could really think about a design schematic. The second thing I took away was really laying them out and then planting them. So of course these are in raised beds at Longwood, and they have very deep, fluffy soil. So if you're working in a raised bed, that could work great. If you're working in your garden, one idea is you could till your space first, or maybe even add some soft topsoil on top, and then lay out your tulips, and then come back and plant them. So one thing they did is they had the tulips laid out, and then they had strategically placed alliums throughout. I think it's going to be beautiful. Of course, I couldn't see the names on the crates, and I have no idea what color scheme they're using this year, but it was really fun to see the layout. And I'm trying to think how I could incorporate that in my garden. I usually do tulips kind of in clumps, but I did order quite a bit this year. So I may try to do maybe a drift and strategically think about my alliums. But let's get back to this container. Okay, so what I did is I tried to pick out tulips that are going to be all 3 seasons. So tulips come in an early, a mid, and a late season. So I want this container to make it through the full season of spring. So tulips in my area usually start the 1st of April, 2nd week of April, and they will go through May. So I would love for this container to go through May, and it would be the last container I plant for summer. So these are from Rotaville Bulb Company, is who they use at Longwood, or that's who they sell. So the first one is going to be a 6-inch early. It's going to be the first one, and it's called Lilac Wonder. Now, I think you can still get these on the Longwood website. You could find this online as well, but isn't it beautiful? I love the little bit of yellow because I have daffodils in that garden area, and I'm going to be adding more this year. So I think it will start blooming just as the daffodils finish. So that's going to go in the front of the container. Now, next, we have this one that I've seen before. It's the Triumph Tom Poussey, I'm assuming, Poussey, I'm not sure, but it's called Triumph. It is a mid-spring, and this one's going to get, it says 14 inches spacing, 20 inches tall. So I think it will be that middle layer, and you can see Triumph. If you've ever grown this one, let me know. I know it's hard to see right here. I may try to take pictures and put it on the screen. Okay, and then the last one will be Mariette. Mariette, 27 inches tall. She is late spring. She needs to go 4 inches deep, which is perfect. And she's a lily flowering. So I also picked a variety in the types of tulip. So I love that lily, which is more open. The Triumph is a little more traditional. And then we have the Lilac Wonder. It's going to be really... All right, so this one says 4 inches deep. This one they recommend 4 inches deep and 4 inches deep. Sometimes they recommend 6 for tulips, but 4 inches is great because this container is pretty shallow. So I've got 2 packs of each. There's 10 in each. I hope I can fit them all in. I'm going to do it really tight. I want it to be absolutely full and gorgeous. I'm also going to do the early ones in front because then I can take those out to make room for the others as they come up. So these tulips will not be perennial in my area, so I'm just going to enjoy them when they bloom, and then I can take them out and redo that container. Now, something I need to mention before we get started is I do have heavy squirrel pressure in my garden. They love to dig in my containers, and they are burrowing nuts. They try to come find their nuts in the spring. It is quite a struggle. So what I'm going to be doing today, I've got to think about what I'm going to do. I may just put some logs or something on it. But what I'm going to be doing for the holidays is I'm going to put a wreath around my tree and let that stay as long as I can. And then I may have to put some squirrel protector down. Maybe in the winter, I'll just sit some logs on there, but they are a problem. So I'm going to have to think about that today. I may just try to put some sticks around it to try to keep them from getting into the bulbs. So wish me luck, but let's head back over there and let's get these guys planted. I think it's going to be absolutely stunning this spring. Okay, so yes, I have on blue disposable gloves. Tulip bulbs, if you didn't know it, are toxic, and a lot of people have allergies to them, and I'm one of those. I actually have allergies to a lot of plants. So what I'm going to do is just make sure I'm covered up. I learned this when I was planting tulips about 6 years ago, and I didn't go wash my hands right away, and I started touching things, and then I had a rash the next day. So we're going to keep everything covered up and good to go. So I'm going to start with this lilac. Well, I think I should start from the back and come forward. Let's do that. So we're going to start with the Mariette, and I love that these are in recyclable bags. Now, tulips have gone really high in price. So these tulip bulbs are beautiful. So you always want to point with the tip up, and remember it's 4 inches deep. What I'm going to do first though is just kind of place them around. I have to make sure that I'm avoiding the root of the tree. And again, I'm going to go very close. Now another option is I could have laid all of this out and then planted, but I think in my situation, it's going to be easier to put these in. So I guess a tip I would have is if you're putting in a container, maybe dampen your soil the day before, because this sure is easy. I'm enjoying planting these because the soil is so loose and damp. Okay, so these tulips are those really tiny ones. So these I will fill the front with. Look how tiny they are. Isn't that sweet? So we'll just get those all planted next. So I had a grapevine wreath in my floral studio, and I put that on here at least for today. I may go ahead and see about putting out my holiday wreath. It's a little early, but I think I've got one that's maybe just pine, but I'll see how this does. This may be enough to keep them away. I'm going to check in the morning and see if they've jumped into the center. I can always fill this with something. I've got maybe some branches or some cut. You can also cut rose branches. They, of course, will not step on that. So I have some roses that definitely need to be cut. They don't have, well, they do have some thorns on them. So if worse comes to worse, I'll stick some of those in until I'm ready to decorate for a holiday. But I think I love, love, love this evergreen here. Wow, I wish it could stay here all year. I love the height, but this container just isn't deep enough. But for spring, winter interest, and for all these tulips, it is going to be gorgeous. I cannot wait for the spring tulip show. So this container's done. I still have the 2 at the front, but they are still gorgeous right now. So I'm going to probably work on those in another week. Overall, the garden fall has just been gorgeous here. So I hope it's beautiful where you are, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye, everybody.